Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, YouTube viewers. This is Ali responding to a video posted by Big Rick 181. Hey Big Rick, basically you had some quote unquote contradictions of the Quran, so let me go through these really quick because I'm sure this is going to be a long video. We talked about who was the first Muslim. Every Muslim will tell you that Adam alayhi salam was the very first Muslim. And a Muslim is defined as someone who submits his will to God. Okay, you quoted chapter 6, verse 163. But if you go to chapter 6, verse 161, you see that God is telling Muhammad that he should follow the deen, religion of Abraham. And then the verse you quoted, it reads that I am the first to surrender unto him. Basically what Muhammad was saying, and that's from the Pictal translation. So basically what the verse that you're quoting is a reference to the first Muslim of that particular group. So Abraham was the first Muslim to his group of people. Muhammad was the first Muslim to his group of people. So that is who the first Muslim is. Then you talk about, did Muhammad seek God? If you read the passage properly, you will see it is talking about the signs or revelations of God, especially if you read 53 verse 18. I'm guessing that where you claim that you saw that Muhammad saw God is in chapter 81, and that would be from verses 19 to 20, where it says that this is the truth of the word of an honored messenger, mighty, established, and I highlight the word established, in the presence of the Lord of the throne. So it doesn't say that he was he saw God. It says he was established in front of God, and to be established in front of God, I mean that basically doesn't say that he saw God. I think that's pretty clear. Then you talk about the food of hell, 88 verse 6 and 37 verse 66. They both talk about a fruit for the inhabitants of hell. One of them talks about the fruit, and the other one talks about the description of what the fruit, the tree that the fruit would be bored on. Talks about the sprouts like the heads of the shaitan and everything else like that, right? And 69 verse 36, for a second I was stumped, but if you read it properly, it talks about basically the new entrance to hell. If you go back again, read it in the context, you'll see that even the previous verse, it talks about that person will not have any friend to help them in hell. And they'll have nothing there to eat besides the filth. So it basically talks about the new entrance to hell. It doesn't talk about the daily life of hell, right? Then you talk about the angel or angels or God responsible for death. If you read chapter 32, verse 11, it talks about there being an angel in charge for everyone's death, meaning that one angel per person. So you have an angel of death, I have an angel of death, both hovering over each other. Right? If you read chapter 4, verse 97, it talks about multiple souls. So if you have an angel of death for you, I have an angel of death for me, and we both were to die today, of course there'll be two angel of deaths, approaching two souls. Right? That makes just sense. So that's where you get the multiple angels to the multiple souls. I mean, just read the context and you'll see that. And from the website that you visited, that you quoted those things from, you forgot to mention chapter 39, verse 42, where it says that God takes our souls. And basically, I decided I'm just going to answer that now rather than wait for you to come back to me with it later. I give you an example of this. Right now, America is at war with Iraq. Now, if I were to have a conversation with you saying Bush is at war with Iraq, that's not a contradiction because Bush is the leader of America, and since America is at war with Iraq, Bush is in war with Iraq. Right? Same thing with God and the angels. The angels follow the will of God. So, the angel taking your soul and God taking your soul, since the angel is doing it because of the will of God, it's actually God taking your soul, so to speak. Right? Women to marry. If you read chapter 2, verse 221, talks about the idolaters. Those are people that made idols and worshipped it. And chapter 9, verse 28 to 33 talks about Christians and Jews. It does not call them idolaters, but unbelievers. There's a big difference. Okay, an idolater is one that carves out a stone and pray to it, and a Jew or a Christian, they just ascribe partners to God. So it's not a contradiction there at all. Then you talk about how many mothers does a Muslim have. Well, In chapter 58, verse 2, it talks about that the only mother you have is the one that bore you, which is 100% what a Muslim believes. Then for verse 23, I think you need to read what's there. It talks about the woman you cannot marry. Cannot marry. Not the women that, no, it does not say that you cannot marry it doesn't say that your foster mother is a mother to you. It says that you cannot marry that woman because she took care of you. She's responsible for who you are today. So you can't marry her. Right? And there's no other word to call a foster mother besides a foster mother. It's as simple as that. Right? And then chapter 33, verse 6, you talk about the multiple mothers of a Muslim. So multiple mothers of the Muslim nation. Okay? These are the women that are responsible for where we are today as Muslims, as far as they're being the companions of the Prophet, etc., etc. So it has nothing to do with my physical mother being those women. Those women are the mothers of the Muslim nation. And since I am part of the Muslim nation, they are basically my mother. Okay. Then basically, how many angels talk to Mary? I think you should really reread that again. If you go, you'll notice that if you read it again, you'll notice that it's talking about two different events. Chapter 3, verse 42 to 45. If you read verse 44, that's chapter 3, verse 44, you'll see that they were drawing raffles or casting lots to figure out who would take care of Mary. And then the angels came and gave glad tidings to Mary and told her about Jesus to come later on in her life. And then if you read to 19 verse 17 to 21, it talks about the angel Jibreel alayhi salam, basically giving her the message of Isa alayhi salam, that he will be born. So it's not a contradiction at all. It's two different events. Okay. Then the creation of the earth and heaven. If you read chapter 2 verse 29, you'll notice that it talks about the creation being created. That is all matter being created. Okay, and then it was turned into the sky, etc. That's basically a Big Bang theory. The Big Bang theory that everything was all at one point together, and then it was split apart into what we call the universe today. So basically, it's more of a verse that supports the science than anything else, to show you that the Big Bang theory. Okay, then the mercy of God. If you read chapter 6, verse 35, you will see that God, if God wanted, He can impose guidance on everyone, but that is not His will. And as you can see from the same verse, it talks about those who choose not to accept the guidance. And basically, as you continue reading, you'll see that it was talking about even if Muhammad were to dig a tunnel from one side of the earth to the other, or to build a ladder up to heaven, the people still not believe. So that's basically what it's talking about. And God would not impose belief on people, because then we'll be at the point of mankind. We would basically be puppets. We won't be man. We won't have the choice to choose. And God doesn't want to take away that right from us. So that's why we still have the right to disbelieve. And if you read chapter 14, verse 4, it talks about basically those that will go astray are reaping the benefits of their wicked deeds. Okay. Then you go talk about the angels as protectors. Again, they execute the will of God. So the same exact argument that is used for the angel of death is the exact same argument that I use here for the protectors in the case of angels. That's all that is. Then the wine on earth and in heaven. It is the wine that is going to be in heaven is clarified in chapter 52, verse 23. Basically, it says they will enjoy drinks that are never polluted and never sinful to drink. So basically, it's not as the wine that we have here on the earth. It is the wine that the wine in heaven basically wouldn't have the alcohol or whatever it is that inebriates mankind into being drunk and all these other things. Right? Then it says you talked about Muslims in hell. If you read the Yusuf Ali's translation in chapter 19, verse 71, it says, "None of you but will pass over it. This is with thy Lord a decree which must be accomplished." So it doesn't say that the Muslims are all going to go to hell, but they're going to pass through it. And you might argue, well, if they're passing through hell, they will feel the pain of hell. And to counterattack that before you come back with that same question. Think about driving through the desert in an air-conditioned car. You're not going to feel the heat in that car because your car is air conditioned and everything. But the person standing outside, he'll die from, dehydration and stuff like that, right? Then you talk about, will Jesus burn in hell? In chapter 21, verse 98, you quoted that basically, men that are taken for idols, they'll be the fuel of hell. But if you continue reading, and this is where I find a lot of people they take things out of context and they don't see that. If you read the verse 101, it says that, and this is from Yusuf Ali's translation again, those of whom the good record from us has gone before will be removed far therefrom. So basically, Jesus is one of those who has has a good record with God, so therefore he would not be one of those who are punished because he never said to mankind to pray to me. Okay, he basically, even when he taught us to pray, he said, our Father who art thou in heaven, blah 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 blah, right? So he never said, our Jesus who art in heaven. Never said anything like that, right? Astaghfirullah. So basically, that's what that is. And don't quote me Revelations because it's a book of dream. It's a book that came as a revelation that came as a dream to a man. And I'm sorry, in my dream, my wife tells me things that she never ever said in her life. Okay, so that's all I'll have to say for that. Then basically, did Jesus die or not die? Again, if you read the context, you'll see that it does not say that all the messengers have died. This is what it said. Muhammad is no more than an apostle. Many were the apostles that have passed away before him. It doesn't say all have passed away before him. It says many were apostles before him. So basically, with that being the case, it does not say that that Jesus died or didn't die. Okay, it just basically said that there were apostles before Muhammad. That's all it's quoting there. And with that, I'm done with this video. I don't know how long it took, so hopefully, I didn't speak too fast that you actually understood what I was saying, and I look forward to your response on probably the other, 70 or so that you didn't quote from that website. All right, looking forward to hearing from you. Take care of yourself. Rest of YouTube, have a great new year, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.